2026. Almost everybody in the world has a podcast. I don't even know how many people have podcasts now. And more people start podcasts every day. And a lot of these people that are starting podcasts are unknowns. People like me, you don't know who I am. Why would you want to watch me do a podcast? Even celebrities are struggling to have podcasts get reach on YouTube. You see people like WWE performers having trouble getting traction. So, point is, now is not the time to start a podcast. The vast majority of people aren't going to engage with that. There's already a plethora of podcasts out there on Spotify. There's podcasts on YouTube. So the whole point of this is, if you're really trying to start at square one right now, you're trying to get awareness around your brand and you're trying to get organic reach, podcasting is not the answer. That's not the right thing to do. But I've kind of figured out the right thing to do. I've stumbled upon it for a couple of the YouTube channels that I run. And a lot of the YouTube channels that I consult with are reluctant to give in to this type of content because it does mean heavy lifting. It does mean ideation. It does mean execution. It does not mean automation. You cannot automate the kind of content that's going to win on YouTube right now that I hypothesize would also win on other social channels. That type of content is docu-style content, docu-series style content. In a time where most creators are trying to find a way to make more with less through automations. You got people using Opus quite a bit. You've got people using generative AI to make videos. They're cloning their own voice and training AI voices so they can just make endless video content of themselves. What happens is everyone else is doing it. The real way to get traction on YouTube or any platform is always going to be through pattern disruption. The problem comes in is when you're doing what everyone else is doing, you end up creating a pattern inadvertently. You're creating a pattern, so there's nothing to disrupt. So if you're starting a podcast, if your brother started a podcast, if your barber started a podcast, everyone has a podcast, right? Not everyone is putting in the effort to document their process. So if I was a barber, for example, I would create a docu-series, is what I would do. I would have cameras going all the time in the barber shop, and once a month, I would put in the effort to produce maybe a 5 to 11 minute episode. It doesn't have to be crazy, but trust me, you film it like a fly on the wall perspective, and more people are going to engage that than a podcast by a nobody. Hola, mama. That's the point. So many people have podcasts now that it's like hearing a gnat buzz when someone tells you, hey, check out my new podcast. You're not going to check out their podcast. If I told you to check out my podcast, you're not going to check out my podcast. We're inundated with that. It's just like the old download my free PDF. Nobody wants to download a PDF. Nobody wants to read that. People don't even read anymore. Look at Audible. People don't want to read your PDF. And now we've gotten to the point as a society where we're conditioned to not want to listen to every single podcast under the sun. Even celebrities are having trouble getting their podcasts off the ground. It's weird, but it's oversaturated. See, it creates a pattern. Everything with exponential growth on social media, including YouTube, comes through pattern disruption. That's how you win. So if you're going to do things that follows the pattern that's already laid down, like railroad tracks, you're going to set yourself up for zero growth, is what's going to happen. You're going to set yourself up for irrelevancy. Nobody's going to know you, especially if you're going organic. If you put paid spend behind it, put paid spend behind your podcast, sure, you'll get impressions, but no one's going to click it. How you doing, Star? No one's going to click it because it's just going to be background noise, like that dog barking over there. We hear it, we know it's there, but we don't really want to pay too much attention to it. We're focused on other things. We have a pattern, right? We have a viewing pattern, we have a life pattern, and when things disrupt that pattern on our social feeds, that's when we take notice. So, by putting a fly on the wall perspective for whatever it is that you do. Whether you're a barber, you're a dietitian, you're a doctor, you're a shift worker that just got off of their shift at a fast food place and you want to talk about that. If you do it in a way that doesn't look like what I'm doing right now, it doesn't look like this, it doesn't look like selfie mode, you're not going to be sitting in your car pouring your heart out behind the wheel like so many people do on TikTok. You do it a little bit differently. You film fly on the wall perspective. So what that means is, let's say you and your coworkers are having a conversation. Now, obviously, you don't want to jeopardize your employment, so you want to make sure you have clearance to do these things. Don't film people without their knowledge, but fly on the wall perspective. You could produce your own reality show. And if you got something to sell, that's how you sell it. You don't go for the hard sell. If I'm trying to sell these pit vipers, I'm not going to come at you and say, hey, buy these pit vipers, man. That's dead. That type of advertising's dead. What you have to do now is content marketing. Content marketing. And even this, being like an influencer, right? That's dead too. It's played out. We've been dealing with it for 10 years now. Everyone's sick of it. It's the same thing with the podcast. But putting in the effort to make a docu-series, most people aren't going to do it. But I'm telling you, on an organic side, I've seen exponential growth with it. I haven't really done it on my channel right here. I've done it for other clients that I work with. It's crazy how well it does. You could have a dead channel that you haven't uploaded to in, say, even 6 to 8 months, 9 months, almost a year. And the deal is, you can really inject some life into it with just some engaging fly-on-the-wall perspective. Most people love documentaries, even if it's something they're not interested in, right? Like, I watched the Last Dance documentary about the Bulls. I'm not a huge NBA guy. Grew up in Chicago. I knew all about the Bulls already. But you got a fly-on-the-wall perspective, one of the biggest dynasties ever in sports. Well, that's interesting to me, even if I'm not a basketball fan. So that's what you got to do. Behind making money, the way people do business, the way people spend their dollars, there's a story behind every dollar you spend, my friend. You start to really analyze this stuff on your own, you'll see that there's a reason why you spend money. I got Michael Jordan shoes on right now because I watched The Last Dance and I loved his hustle. So I'm like, man, I want to get me some shoes like Jordan, man. I like red and black, so that's what I got. What I'm saying, if they were just regular red and black shoes at Walmart, I wouldn't have spent $100 for them. There's a story behind that. A lot of people call that story brands in marketing. But where people are getting it twisted right now is they think they need to have this hey guys energy. You understand what I'm saying? Where they start the video, hey guys, today we're going to talk about how to blah, 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 blah. That's dead, man. That's 10 years ago. But if you know anything about marketing, I've been in marketing for 10 years, so I'm not saying that to flex, but this is why I think about these things. Marketing's always 10 years behind, dude. If you're in the trench, it's just like being on the front lines of a war. You see how that war is shifting in real time. You're there on the front lines. You're not the general back away at camp, safe in the barracks, right? You're on the front line watching it every day. I'm telling you. What I'm seeing right now is a lot of people are going towards the AI automation. And don't get me wrong, I love AI. But you can't automate authenticity. You can't automate your soul. And if you try to, it's probably going to come off as inauthentic. And when people sense inauthenticity, they close their wallets. They put it back in their pants. They don't buy. So if you're actually, holy crap, it's raining. If you're actually doing YouTube to make money, I'm not talking about these type of YouTubers that do it for a check from the platform, trying to be part of the program, the partnership program. I'm not talking about those kind of YouTubers. I'm talking about people that actually have something to sell. You can even look at a Gary Vee. Yeah, Gary Vee's making money off the partnership program, but that's not the main source of his income. He's got VaynerMedia. So he brought his content out for free on YouTube in front of everybody. You've never known Gary Vee to charge for an online course or anything like that. You might have to pay money to go see him speak. He might put a book out every 5 years, but the point is this: he's put his expertise on YouTube for free, right? Oftentimes, like I said, in a fly-on-the-wall perspective where it's unscripted. You're basically just chilling with Gary Vee, watching his day-to-day. That's a really good content strategy because everyone else is doing this performative stuff where they're either doing the hey guys energy or they're automating things, and it's a bit mechanical and robotic. Think about it like this. AI automations, I mean, they have their place, I guess. I'm not sure that I would use automations, but I understand it. But it's usually just to scale. That's the only reasons why they do it. They do it to scale. You're not worried about scaling. You're not worried about AI automations because it takes the human element out of it. I'm talking about that energy where you'll look at an Instagram post and you'll see the comment mentor to get our 90-page PDF about all the best practices for Instagram. It takes the humanity out of it. Humans do business with humans. Now, a lot of us do business with faceless corporations, but I think that's getting stale as well. So, if you want to make money, you have to have a story behind your offer. Meaning, whatever you're selling, there has to be some sort of story to it. And your podcast, if you have a podcast, if you start a podcast, while it could potentially provide that story, you're talking about a 40-minute episode, right? Even a 25-minute episode. You're talking about all this stuff. Who's going to sit through that? If a celebrity, if an athlete, if a politician, if they can't even get somebody to sit through it, why is a regular person going to sit through a podcast by a regular person? There are examples where people are in niche categories where they are doing news-based content. It might be sports talk, it might be wrestling talk, it could be crypto talk, things like that. Yeah, that's different, but it's not about them. It's about what they're talking about. The point is, I won't say it's easier. There's more effective ways to create content that's going to get you organic reach. And it's not a podcast, man. I've seen a lot of people starting podcasts in the last 5 years, and they're not moving, bro. Like, I don't know what you consider a win on a podcast. But if I'm putting one out there, I at least want to get to 1,000 views, man. I at least want 1,000 downloads on it. Otherwise, I don't see it being worth our time. But you got to look at the devil's advocate on that side. You can possibly get some acquisition on a podcast like that. Get some acquisition even with 100 listens, 200 listens. You might get a highly targeted audience that's interested in your product. But I don't know. I'd rather put my eggs in the basket of documentary style fly on the wall content because I know I'm going to get a ton of opportunity with that. So that's my main objective. Docuseries. Leave the podcasts back in 2012. Put them away. You don't need them anymore. No one's listening anyway. That's my opinion. Because here's the thing. You could always make more money. You'll never get more time. So use your time wisely. Treat your time like it's $1 million and multiply your efforts. Don't rely on AI to replicate your voice so you can make tasteless content without flavor. Go big. Go and create your own little reality show. Even if it's in little short snippets. It doesn't have to be a 40-minute thing. It doesn't have to be a 20-minute thing. Fly on the wall. Now, I'm not talking about the obvious fly on the wall stuff where somebody might set up a camera and they start like crying in a room or something, or they set up a camera and they're like working out in a gym. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are Instagram flexes. I'm talking about something with a little bit of a loose narrative, something with some loose dialogue, something like that could possibly break through. I've seen it break through. I've seen videos as short as 5 minutes like that are structured like that, fly on the wall perspective, and it's getting like 150,000 views organic, dude, from all new audiences. These aren't subscribers that are watching. These are brand new people. So something to consider before you record that first episode of your podcast. Think twice about it. There's other ways to do it. It might be a little more difficult. AI is not going to be able to do it for you. But the return on those efforts is exponentially better than starting a podcast that no one's going to listen to. Have a good rest of your day. I guess I didn't go